Hi, I'm Brett Larkin. I post new yoga videos to YouTube every single week, and I'm now posting yoga classes for total yoga beginners every Tuesday. So if you're new to yoga or interested in learning, make sure to like and hit subscribe. So triangle pose, just like many of the warrior poses that we looked at, you want to have your feet about as far apart as your legs are long, right? So if you have shorter legs, you're gonna wanna have a shorter stance. If you have longer legs, you're gonna wanna have a longer stance. It's kind of like high school geometry again, right? You want that triangle to be stable and all the sides are equal length. Similar to warrior two, you're in that same configuration where you're lining up your front heel with your back arch. So front heel with back arch. And the back foot is parallel to the back of the mat or could be in a little bit at 45 degrees. And the front toes point straight forward. Now, this pose is more about a stretch in the back of the legs. While the warrior poses were more about strengthening the quads. Now, we're still gonna strengthen, but we're gonna stretch the back of the legs as well. So what I'm gonna have Murray do is come in to triangle pose, and it looks just like this. And there's lots of little alignment points that we can refine. So let's see what it looks like in his body.
Okay. So we start out and then...
Perfect. So we have his front heel bisecting his back arch. Perfect. So he has the correct stance in his feet. And his back foot is parallel to the back of the mat, or even perhaps he'll turn it in a tiny bit. Yeah, but looks good. And unlike the warrior poses, so if he bent his front knee, he'd be in warrior two, right? Which we already covered. Instead, he's gonna come into triangle pose. So take the arms wide, but the other way. There we go, take the arms wide this way. Now, this is the part in triangle pose that I think people miss, and it can be kind of hard. In triangle pose, it's like we wanna stack our hips. So I want you to think of your front hip moving back in space. Yeah, so you're gonna pull that front right femur into the hip socket as you bump your hips back, and then take your hand to your shin or thigh, or I also have some blocks for him. Yeah, I think maybe, just keep it on the leg. Yep. So let me see how this looks. How do you feel?
So it's interesting. So as a guide, warrior one, where you were turning your hips was easier. Right. Whereas this, bringing my hip in, is actually much harder because it's a strange thing. And then that feels fine. It just I can see how inflexible I am compared to you, because I like the idea of putting my hand down on the floor is impossible.
Well, you will get there if you keep practicing, first of all. Second of all, another thing that I like to tell students in this posture is like visualize you're between two panes of glass. Yeah? Right. So you're not like arching way back or leaning way forward, right? Yeah. You're just between these two panes of glass, and then he's gonna draw, like every yoga pose, we wanna engage the abdominals, draw your abs in, knit your ribs in, but this looks great. And the only thing that he's a little bit, upset about is that he can't get his hand so far down to the ground. But do you feel a gentle stretch in the back of the leg?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna keep practicing, and over time, you'll get there. Keeping the hand on the thigh or on the shin or on these blocks that I brought for him, but for him, I think it's just better to keep them on the leg, is really the best way to do it. And then press down through the feet. Think of gently engaging your legs so that your kneecaps gently lift. That's really gonna turn on your legs if you're trying this at home, right? So the legs just aren't like lazy. The legs are actually working.
They're definitely working.
Yeah, definitely working and stretching at the same time. Why don't you come on out of it? And pop quiz, Murray, how should we be breathing in that pose, right? I know you're talking to me and everything, but if we were in a yoga class, how would we breathe in that triangle pose just
through your nose?
In and out through the nose with the inhales and exhales.
At the same time. The same length.
The same length. Oh my gosh, if we had to inhale and exhale at the same time, that would be really hard. So inhales and exhales the same length. What other questions do you have about that pose?
At the end of it, actually, the back of my shoulder is really tired from holding
your arm up.
in that strange position. Mm-hmm. But that was actually that was the thing that was getting to me most.
Interesting.
Is that something that's normal or?
Totally normal. I mean, Murray's been doing yoga for 8 days, so he's still a little beginner. So all parts of the body are going to talk to you and be saying, wow, this feels weird, this feels different, I'm not used to doing this. So if you're at home, patience, my friend. I've been practicing for 12 years and still improving things here and there. If this is like day 8,
yep,
you really need to have a lot of patience because the body's so willing to open and change, but it's not going to respond well to force. You need to, and this is where yoga is different from other forms of exercise. Other forms of exercise are very much about getting to a final point, right? It's almost a little like achievement oriented. Yeah. And you want to try to kind of ditch that mindset when you do yoga. It doesn't serve you. You want to think, I want to feel strength and I want to feel a stretch, right? Because in triangle pose, a great example of that, because in triangle pose, we do get that strength and that stretch at the same time. But I don't care if like my hand's all the way to the ground or not. I just want to be with my breath and appreciate where I am in this moment. And what's funny is when you appreciate where you are in the moment, you come back to the practice, you keep practicing, all of a sudden 2 months later, you've made all this progress.
Right. I know that's, it's good to know it's suppose more of a practice than a hitting point.
Totally. And we can talk more about that in another video. It's an important point.
Thank you.
Guys, let us know your other questions about triangle pose so we can answer them, and we'll see you in the next video. Hey, if you like this video, you are going to love my free Pure Beginner Master the Basics yoga class. Not only do I cover the top 10 yoga poses you're most likely to encounter as a beginner, but I give you a downloadable cheat sheet showing you exactly how to do each of these moves so you know you're doing them correctly. Let's banish the fear and confusion of doing it wrong. Let's master the basics together. Go to BrettLarkin.com/beginner for your free download, and I'll see you on the mat. Namaste.